Hey everyone, it's Last Protagonist. 5 years ago, Mario Maker 2 added the World Maker to the game, allowing players to craft their own individual Super Mario worlds. I was very excited for this update and vowed to make a full world with 40 levels in the style of Super Mario Bros. 3. I got about 30 levels in before I burned out. While my levels weren't bad, some didn't fit the vibe I wanted from the original games, and in the process of designing them, I'd learned a lot, so I really wanted to go back and remake a number of them using what I learned. I started redesigning my Super World in July 2022 and finally completed it 3 years later in July 2025. Granted, it's not like I was working on it constantly for 3 years, but it still feels good to mark this off my things to do list. Anyway, while I really enjoy Mario Maker 2, I couldn't help but notice while playing that although every stage shares the Mario aesthetic, not every stage feels like it'd belong in a Mario game. I wondered why that was, and it made me come to appreciate the originals even more than I had before. It turns out that what makes Mario feel like Mario doesn't just come from aesthetics and controls. For example, the Mario Maker community has designed a kind of visual shorthand of indicators for difficult levels, which is wonderful from a gameplay and legibility standpoint, but it ends up making these levels feel quite divorced from the level design of the original games. Funnily enough, because Mario Maker 2's algorithms segregate levels based on difficulty, it pushes the easiest and hardest levels onto the player base via the endless challenge modes. This incentivizes level designers to make either incredibly easy or incredibly difficult levels, which tend to feel less like a traditional Mario game whose levels sit somewhere between intermediate and moderate difficulty. This makes it pretty difficult to find high-quality traditional levels since they're made to compete in the same spaces as auto levels, music levels, speedruns, kaizo, troll levels, puzzle levels, etc. You get it. This isn't meant to be a complaint, merely an observation. One reason I think it's so difficult finding high-quality traditional Mario courses is that they're surprisingly difficult and time-consuming to design and create. To highlight some of the challenges that come with the territory, as a level designer, you'll need to anticipate how some players will try to break your courses. Either by jumping over obstacles in unintended ways, ignoring the intended sequence of your levels,
alright, let's see if there's any shortcuts,
or using power-ups and getting hit to use Mario's iframes to damage boost through the level. Other players may just play the game differently than you do.
Go! How was I supposed to know? What was a gamer to do right there?
There are a number of tricks to employ while playtesting your levels to make sure they feel good for a large number of players. Trying to grab all of the coins you've placed, for instance, might give you a better understanding of how it feels to play your levels with a bit of a guiding hand, but some players will seemingly go out of their way to avoid them.
I used to just be the worst gamer ever, but then someone like you decided to challenge my title.
So then, how would your level feel if you avoided coins and enemies entirely? How would it feel if you went out of your way to defeat every enemy?
Superstar? Oh shoot! I'm talking my love star runs.
This might seem unintuitive at first, but part of the challenge of designing a level is stepping out of your comfort zone. Perhaps one of the most effective ways to playtest a level is by speedrunning it. How will players interact with your stage's enemies and obstacles if they're blazing by as quickly as possible? Surprisingly enough, some stages actually become easier to complete when they're speedrun, since many enemies can't react quickly enough to what Mario is doing. What might seem like a moderately challenging level on the surface might become a snooze fest if all Mario has to do is run right and perform a few max height jumps to clear it as a speedrun. I tend to think it's pretty boring being able to clear a level by continuously holding right and doing a few max height jumps, so for my Super World, I took the extra effort to place hazards and enemies in such a way to provide an additional challenge for those who want to speedrun them. I'll admit, some levels are more fun to speedrun than others, and it was a lot of extra work making my stages speedrun compatible, but I actually learned a lot about level design from this perspective. For example, how do you slow the player down? There are direct methods such as placing obstacles in their path, creating hazards such as pits to punish max distance jumps,
Oh, almost got myself killed.
or even adding in enemies to temporarily obstruct the path. However, sometimes enemies can be used to skip sections of a level. What do you do then? Do you tie progression in the level to a door? Do you lock it and hide the key? Add in some bricks that need to be broken? As the old saying goes, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, and one of the best ways to slow a player down is by using question mark blocks, even in benign locations. These blocks don't even need to have anything in them, they just need to be enough of a distraction to slow the player down for a level to flow properly.
no, please don't get hit. No! Ah, that man set me up.
This obviously won't be as effective at slowing down a dedicated speedrunner, so it still takes a bit of insight knowing what tool to use when. Nonetheless, I found the process of adapting my levels for speedrunners to be fun and enjoyable, but to keep it real with you, sometimes you need to ask yourself if the juice is worth the squeeze. With Mario Maker 2 being over 5 years old now, not as many people are playing the game, and with the way levels are stratified in the Endless Course Challenge, the likelihood there will be a lot of players speedrunning your levels is going to be pretty darn low unless you have some kind of platform to advertise them. Thus, I don't recommend going out of your way to design your levels with speedrunners in mind, unless you're trying to learn more about the process of level design in general. One of the other major differences in designing a level for Mario Maker versus the original games is that there are meta systems that need to be taken into consideration for both players and level designers. In the Endless Challenge mode, for example, players are able to earn up to 3 lives per level, and if you don't include a way for a player to gain 3 lives, they'll feel less likely to like your level, or may even feel inclined to boo it.
I should dislike that map just because of that freaking ending, bro.
This will hurt your level's visibility and make it less likely to be played by others. As a result, many level creators will add in 3 extra lives that are available right at the beginning or end of a level, which makes a lot of sense from a meta perspective, but it also makes them feel more synthetic as a result. Since I prefer traditional level designs, I try to ensure there's a way to get at least 3 lives in each of my levels, with 1 life typically earnable through gathering coins, 1 from random blocks, and a final one that's usually from the stage clear box at the end of a level. Hopefully this way, the lives gained feel more organic to each stage and not just something that's given away for free. However, a word of warning. It can end up feeling fatiguing if you spam too many coins in a given area, and one of the ways it can feel good to get a large number of coins at once is by placing them in a secret area or having the player pick up a large coin that awards 10, 30, or 50 gold coins at once. You can't guarantee players will go out of the way to find every coin or every secret area though, so a bit of redundancy and having more than 100 coins available can go a long way in fleshing out a level. Aside from figuring out where to place obstacles, coins, and enemies, another aspect of level design which can easily get overlooked is what I'll call aesthetics and the continuity of a level. For example, if you can enter a pipe from the left side, it can feel a little jarring if you're suddenly facing down when you come out the other end. Naked pipes, that is, pipes that don't connect to anything, also look really out of place, and even adding 2 wooden blocks to the base can help make a level feel more vibrant and fleshed out. Some makers go the extra mile and will add embellishments to stages by using mushroom stalks, soft blocks, vines, and other kinds of platforms to make their backgrounds more pleasing to the eye. And if you want your levels to be thematically consistent, it might be worth noting what types of enemies are in your stages and having them match the background theme. So having things like dry bones and castle dungeon themes instead of Koopa Troopas, or not having ghost boos flying around in the default ground levels. Another thing to be wary of when designing a level is the player's expectations. Many players don't respond well to gimmicks or troll levels,
I'm gonna dislike this course, man. I ain't gonna lie. Hopefully tagging in here.
but are more forgiving toward them if they're done in a ghost house or a dungeon castle theme because they may be more accustomed to these levels being gimmicky from the original games or from playing other creators' levels.
Let's just say the ghost houses back in Super Mario World used to like really stress me out.
This doesn't mean you can't make gimmicky or troll levels in different formats, but sometimes it's easier to go with the flow rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. Honestly, one of the best ways to get direct feedback on your levels is by watching other people play them, which is admittedly a bit of a luxury.
Welcome to Alacardante 420's channel on Twitch, where we play Mario Maker in the day and whatever I feel like playing at night.
However, a simple way to do this is by submitting your levels to streamers. Parts of your levels which might seem simple or straightforward to you, the level designer, might not appear that way to a player, and they might even find ways to get your character soft-locked, unable to advance, or killed in unintended ways.
No.
Basically, designing levels in Mario Maker has given me a newfound respect for the process of level design and the challenges that come along with it, and that's with the luxury of having completely finalized enemies and game mechanics to work with. Trying to imagine how much more of a headache it'd be to design stages while features are still in development is enough to make my head shudder uncontrollably. Thus, if you're interested in getting into game design yourself, I honestly think one of the best things you can do is either play a game like Mario Maker or start modding games yourself. You might find out you have a real passion for the process of game or level design, or you might find out it's not for you.
That was great. I love that last protagonist. Thank you for sending me an easy one. I appreciate that.
Hello there.
I beat it! I did it! After all these years!
If you enjoyed this video, let me know with a like, comment, or sub. And if you want to play my Super World and or want to try to beat my clear times, my maker ID is on screen and will be in the video description. I don't know about you guys, but with the launch of the Switch 2, I'm really hoping we'll get an announcement for Super Mario Maker 3 soon. I'm really hoping they'll bring back some features from the original games, as well as add to a level's customizability. Are you guys looking forward to Super Mario Maker 3 as well? If so, let me know with a comment and what kind of features you'd like to see in it. Anyway, that'll be it for me. Hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. So until then, take care, stay safe. Last Protagonist out.